Taking the learning styles test in the folder for this learning outcome can give you some ideas about what type of learner you are, and also some things to think about as you move forward to study and attempt to succeed in this course and all college courses. Let me give you a disclaimer first. This test, like any test, is not perfect. So don't take this test and go, oh my gosh, this is exactly the way that I am 100% for sure. This should be used as kind of a fact-finding mission. When you take the test and you read the results, it might give you some things to think about. You might really identify with some of the things it tells you. Or it might say something that's new to you, and so it's worth thinking about and exploring a little bit more. But you never just want to take one test and go, yes, this is exactly how I am, this is exactly what I need to do with my life. Also, with the test itself, remember it's just one test, and some of the questions can be difficult. Some of the questions I could honestly answer either way, and so you just want to answer with the one that seems the most true about you most of the time. Don't overthink these questions too much. Just give it your first instinct and then see what you come up with. Once you take the test, you will see your results, and then you'll see a place where you can read about how to interpret those results. So I thought I would go over my results with you to kind of give you an idea of how you'll want to look at your results once you take the test. So the first scale on this particular test will tell you whether you are an active or reflective learner. Now, active learners prefer to get in there and do things, while reflective learners have a tendency to want to think about things before they attempt them. This is the one scale where I have an overwhelming preference according to the results. I am a reflective learner almost completely. I'm a thinker, I'm an analyzer, I've always been that way, so that doesn't surprise me. The readout, if you're an active learner, will give you some tips, and if you're a reflective learner like myself, it will also give you some tips. The second scale is sensing and intuitive. Learners who have a preference towards sensing mostly like to just identify facts, whereas intuitive folks tend to think about more creative ideas, concepts, as opposed to specific pieces of information. I lean a little bit towards the intuitive on this particular scale. For the third, visual and verbal learners, I lean a little bit towards the visual preference on that. And again, verbal learners usually prefer to read. They usually prefer to look at text, whereas visual learners prefer pictures, prefer to watch TV, and are more visually stimulated towards learning. And then the final category are sequential and global. People with a sequential preference usually like to take things a step at a time, and people who are global learners kind of like to see the whole picture and like to understand how something fits in the universe, if you will, as opposed to just breaking it down step by step. I have a little bit of a lean towards the global perspective on this particular scale. But I would actually argue, just knowing myself the way that I think I do, that I would actually lean a little bit sequentially. So again, I'm not saying that you have to agree with this test, but it might give you some ammunition, it might give you some things to think about as you move towards the course and think about how you will want to best learn and use all the information you can to identify some potentially helpful learning strategies.